Welcome into another episode of the Laser Bros podcast. We're your hosts, Logan and Luke Lazarchik. Another week of NFL football. We're now through a quarter of the season, technically, I think. Well, it's 17 weeks now, so I don't know if it's exactly a quarter, but we're now through 4 weeks of NFL season. I feel like football's getting better and better as the season progresses. I know week one was kind of rough, but I feel like it's kind of gotten better and better.
Yeah, I feel like the start of the Sunday was kind of rough, but then it really picked up. I feel like things are leveling out where they should be, but there's still obviously a lot of things where the unexpected. Yeah, I think it's good. I think we're in an interesting spot. I think I would say there's no top dog right now, and it makes it interesting.
Yeah, I don't even know how many great teams there are. Like, there's good teams, of course, but how many great teams are there in the NFL right now? I don't think there's more than I don't think you can count more than on one hand of great teams. So
Yeah, like the concept of a lock, I think is dying. There are not many locks.
Yeah, and today's episode, of course, we'll do our week 5 predictions, but we are going to start with week 4 takeaways. We're going to talk about Davante Adams, and we're doing a new segment today called True or False, which I think will be pretty fun. So let's start with the week 4 takeaways, and we'll start with the Jets and the Broncos. For me, this is kind of an alarming game for the Jets. I think you get the extra rest to prepare against a rookie quarterback. You're at home. That quarterback, Bo Nix, throws for 60 yards, only scores 10 points, and you lose. And Jets, to me, I picked them to win the division, the AFC East this year. I'm quickly I don't think that happened. I'm not even sure if they're a playoff team. And I don't want to overreact to this game, but Aaron Rodgers came out of the game pretty banged up. He was getting pressured constantly. I don't know. They're all, even Garrett Wilson, I think, said a comment about their offense not being really creative. I don't know. I think Robert Saleh and Nathaniel Hackett, I think those two combined are the biggest issue for the Jets. But I don't know. I don't really see it with the Jets. And their schedule gets tougher, too. I had them win this division, but I don't see that happening.
Yeah, coaching's definitely an issue. I mean, I did pick Broncos to cover because I thought this would be close. Now that I think Broncos would win, I kind of said that I could see it. So, someone's been right about the Broncos the past couple weeks, but it's neither here nor there. But, yeah, the Jets, I think Saleh, I just think he's not the guy, and I think we're seeing more of these OCs who are more just kind of ingrained into getting jobs. That's kind of falling
the
off
only reason
too.
Hackett's even with the Jets is because of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I think that
I don't
type
think
of
he'd have
stuff
a
has
job
to
in the
go.
NFL.
That type of stuff has to go. And yeah, I think Garrett Wilson, Rodgers just haven't clicked yet. And I thought they would. And I still didn't pick them to make the playoffs. If they're not clicking, they have a problem. And I mean, Brees Hall isn't even
I
getting it
don't even know
going.
if Brees Hall's the best running back on that roster anymore.
Oh, he's better than Braylon Allen. Come on.
Brees Hall, I think he's more of a home run hitter. I don't think he's
better than Braylon Allen. Come on.
I mean, they both got work last week, and I think Brees Hall 10 carries for 4 yards, and Braylon Allen looked. I mean, they did. To me, the problem with last week's game, is I think Rodgers threw the ball. Did he throw it 40 plus times?
Let's see.
They only ran the ball, I believe, 16 times, and I may be wrong on the exact number, but the ratio is definitely. And the weather wasn't even that good. The weather was rainy.
They ran it 23 times, passed it 42.
I mean,
but Rodgers had 5 of those carries.
And in that type of game, you should be leaning on the run game more. When it's 10-9, lean on the run game more. So I'm completely off the Jets right now, and maybe in a couple weeks they'll start playing well. But I mean, they have a tough matchup this week, and their schedule gets kind of tough these next few weeks. I'm completely off the Jets.
Yeah, I'm still giving them. It's all about Wilson get, and then it was said that with the Davante Adams trade, Jets are on his wish list. So I mean, we'll see what happens.
I mean, if that happens, then they'll change my mind a little bit.
Because Mike Williams had a good game. Lazard had a good game. Is Lazard really going to be your 4 when he has great? I don't know. I think that gets weird if you don't trade in the receivers and bring in Davante. I think that gets a little weird. But yeah, and then I also think I think the Jets are serious problems. And then I think on the other side, Denver, I don't care that your quarterback threw for 60 yards.
Can I ask you a quick question about that real quick? like if I told you before the game, Bo Nix only threw for 60
I think
yards,
that's.
what would
I
your
mean,
prediction be for the
yeah, I
game?
mean, yeah, Jets win, but I think that's not how it always works. I think that question, as well with the locks, becomes less and less relevant because each game is different. But I think that Denver is better than people think. I think they had a bad start. I think you lost to Pitts. You have a rookie quarterback who's still learning. You lost to a Pittsburgh defense. You could have beat them. You could have beat Seattle. Like you were up early and then just kind of blew it. Rookie quarterback. But I mean, Bo Nix didn't mess anything up, and he had in the fourth quarter, third quarter, he got the ball down the field. And I think their defense is much better than people think. I mean, they had 10 people with at least half a sack. You have the best corner in football, in my opinion, and Surtain. I mean, you still have a good play caller in Sean Payton. You now beat Tampa, who looks really good, and you beat them easily. And you beat a Jets offense, which isn't great, but is still talented. I think Denver is a sneaky team where if Bo Nix develops, I mean, they're allowing 13.8 points per game. The defense is obviously really good. They're first in sacks. So they obviously got, and don't have stars on the front end, but they got a lot of good players, solid players who maybe many of us didn't know about. But I think they're a playoff team in contention. And it all depends if Bo Nix, he doesn't need to be great. He just needs to develop a little more. And maybe they get a second receiver. And I think can become an underrated storyline as the season continues.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think you're much higher than the Broncos. I don't think Broncos are like a terrible team, but like the Jets this early in the season with the Broncos figuring things out and not really having any star pass rushers, and they were even banged up in the linebacker department. The Broncos were, and the Jets still couldn't generate any
But
offense.
what
So
about beating Tampa? They dominated
no, no, no,
Tampa.
no, no. Yeah, I think they're a decent team. Like I had them. I think when we made our preseason predictions, like division stuff, I believe I had them third place. I believe I had them third place and Raiders fourth. So I didn't think there would be a terrible team, but I don't see them winning. I don't see them going over 500 by any means. I see them winning like 6, 7 games. And
They could definitely go over 500. And I know I'm not big on schedules, but I'm big on schedules the further you go into a season. I mean, you have Raiders, Chargers, split those, New Orleans, Panthers, and then you have a tough stretch with Baltimore, KC, Atlanta, but then Vegas, Cleveland, by Colts, Chargers, Cincy, KC. I mean, you can do some stuff there. Also, I forgot on the Jets, they suck at run defense. So that's
oh yeah, they're terrible.
I mean, Javante.
Was he like
Weeks
21 for 77 or something like
weeks
that?
1 through 3, he had 24 carries for 52 yards, 24 for 52. That's just over 2. And then he had 16 for 77, 4.8. So, and McLaughlin had 9 for 46, and his averages may have been worse. Yeah, they're about the same. And he had 9 for 46, over 5 carries. So, they can't stop the run. I mean,
No, I think the Jets are in trouble. Like, and I think they probably get Davante Adams. I think that's where he ends up. If I had to like make a guess right now, but like coaching, I think defense, like they have this great secondary, but if you just run on them, you don't have
yeah,
to. You don't have to
Yeah,
go through that
Broncos
secondary.
couldn't pass the ball because the
Yeah.
secondary, and they have one receiver who had all their receiving yards.
I mean, I think
So,
it's just, I think it's very alarming when you allow that pass rush to get to Rodgers that many times, and there's no like Pro Bowlers or superstar pass.
but
And
that's my
I'm not
point
trying to
about the
downgrade.
Denver pass
No,
rush.
I know, but my point is you're going to be facing really good pass rushers week to week, and like
Okay,
Denver
but
doesn't have a great pass rush. They have a collective group of guys that can get a pass rush, but that's still alarming, especially with the offensive line additions. And Rodgers is 40 years old. He got banged up in this game. I picked them to win the division, like I said, but I just don't see it right now.
for them to win division, you have to get Davante, and it's just like glorious.
Well, let's move on to our next game. And this one, even though they got the win,
Yeah.
losing Rashee Rice is, I think, the bigger story in this one. I mean, it's 10-0. I believe, like after the first quarter, I believe it's 10-0 Chargers, and Chiefs didn't allow a single point after that. But the biggest story is Rashee Rice potentially tearing his ACL. I know they said they still have to do more tests, and I believe the reason why it's going to take longer is because there's so much swelling in the knee that they can't detect it right now. And I think I think there could be multiple ligaments in play here for Rashee Rice.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? It's weird. I'm not gonna it's just I'm not expecting Rasheed Rice anytime soon. So now that sucked as a Chiefs fan, especially Mahomes threw the pick, and then he was the one to tear his ACL or it hurt him, whatever it was. So that was just brutal. I mean, I think they're lucky that the Chargers were hurt during James didn't play. No tackles. Herbert was clearly limited, but I mean, at this
I mean,
point,
Herbert played. I thought he played pretty well for certain
I mean, at this
circumstances.
point, Herbert is always limited. But yeah, I mean, the Chiefs still won. The defense is good. Kareem Hunt, pretty solid when he came in. It's all about finding a receiver, and you're not going to get Davante. And so it's like, are you getting Amari Cooper, Christian Kirk?
Amari Cooper, I think, is the one that makes the most sense.
Are you getting I mean, yeah, Amari Cooper, he is dropping the ball a lot. So like as much as Deshaun's been bad, like Mari's not helping in the slightest. I mean,
It's Deontay Johnson. I mean, I know he's been a
I
really
don't
good player
think the
for them.
Panthers are going to trade. They need to keep some players, and they've already traded players. I think you got to keep Deontay Johnson. I mean, they're stealing on the same team, who I could see once he comes back from IR, and you need a receiver. I mean, it's that simple. You need a receiver
I've
of
heard like
some
the name like Jalen
caliber.
Hyatt thrown out there,
I
Darius
mean,
Slayton, and those type. But like Hyatt, I think is
that's
like he's too much of a similar player to Worthy, where he's just a
yeah.
speedster. I don't really see
It's
much
not.
with
It's not
Hyatt.
enough.
But in terms of the Chiefs, is their Super Bowl? What are your thoughts on their Super Bowl aspirations this season? Is it?
I don't think you can make too many. I think you have to wait to see who the receiver is. You have to wait. I still think they're going to win the division. If you told me they didn't get a receiver, I'd still say, okay, Chiefs will win the division. 2 or 3 seed probably would be my pick.
I mean, because of what we saw last season, I'm not going to rule the Chiefs out at all because last season was, I think, possibly a worse situation because like Rashee Rice through the first half of the year really was learning the offense, really wasn't a factor. Now Kelsey losing his step,
Yeah, he
that
looked
doesn't
good.
help.
He looked good. That was something good to see. But I mean,
But at least our deep threat can actually catch the ball this year.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
MBS
that's
last year
nice.
couldn't. So I think because the Chiefs, Chiefs won the Super Bowl last year with probably one of the worst offenses in the league.
Yeah,
And
but at that
it
point,
may be,
Rice turned into a pretty good receiver.
of course. And it's
There's
going to be
no
a
pretty good
similar,
receiver.
it's going to be a similar formula this year for the Chiefs. It's going to look very similar to last year. But I do think they make a move for a receiver at some point. I know the trade deadline is like in 4 or 5 weeks. I believe it's like before week 8 or something like that, week 9. So I do think like I'm rooting for the Browns to keep losing so that it's a better chance of them trading Amari Cooper. So to me, Amari Cooper makes the most sense because first of all, his contract, like because they structured his contract the way they did, he's only like a $600K cap hit. Davante Adams is not going to get traded to the Chiefs. The Raiders aren't going to do that.
Yeah.
Deontay Johnson, I think there's differing opinions. Like I think he would be a good fit, but I get where you're coming from, where they kind of need him in that offense if they want to keep winning. And then the Giants players that people are mentioning, that doesn't make much sense to me at all.
Yeah, the Giants are bad at receiver. They have one guy and then okay number 2. Yeah, let's see. I think Keenan Allen could be an option. I think he's clearly not going to do much with the Bears.
No.
I just don't see that coming much of anything. Kirk, I think wouldn't be bad, but then I don't like his contract after. Lockett, K-State guy, go Cats. Big win on Saturday, but yeah. So they're gonna be fine regular season. In the playoffs, they just need a guy for the playoffs.
Yeah, we'll see how that plays out. I'm hoping for Amari Cooper, but we'll see. Let's move on to the next game, and this one was not. The result wasn't like the team that won wasn't shocking, but the way that the Commanders won really surprised me. Like Jay Daniels, I think he 26 of 30, and the last game he's 21 23. Like I think he's completing like 82% of his passes this year. For me,
crazy.
I was very impressed with the Commanders, but this game tells me more about the Cardinals than the Commanders. Like because the Cardinals only scored 14 points against, I think, the worst defense in the league. And Kyler Murray, we've kind of seen this for 2-3 weeks now, where he starts out really well in the game and then is just super inconsistent throughout the game.
Yeah, I have something where I'm gonna mention Kyler later. I'm gonna keep it I'm not going to explain it fully, but yeah, he's just so inconsistent. I mean, I remember I'm like after 2 weeks, I was like, dang, Kyler. I mean, he could just be the stud, and then it's just like, what is this? And that's been his whole career. I mean, they had the 1 year he was like they were like 8-1, 9-1, whatever it was. And then they kind of fall apart. And I mean, he's really talented, and you know, I don't know exactly who or what the formula is to unlock him fully.
I
I
think they
mean,
need because like Marvin Harrison Jr. is supposed to be.
I don't even know if it's another receiver though.
To me, I still think the offensive line is not good.
I think he's a guy who you get him in the perfect system for him, and you just see unreal things. But I don't think we found that system for him yet, and I think that's. I could just see him like in a couple years, all of a sudden he lands with like a Sean. Obviously, Sean McVay would be like his own division, but just he lands with a great offensive coach, and everything clicks. But yeah, just something. It's like you just never trust him, and that's the problem. And then he can come out and have an insane week where no one could tackle him. Marvin Harrison has a ton of plays. McBride has a ton of plays, but you just never trust him.
I think he only ran for like 3 yards this game,
Yeah,
and
his
the
rushing's
last 2 games he
also
has not been running.
insanely inconsistent. Yeah, so he's a tough quarterback to really nail in at a spot of like where they are. But Washington, on Washington side, I mean, James Daniels is a stud. Um, yeah, that's known. The defense, I guess you had to say, looked better. They have a good rushing attack. Cliff Kingsbury, a lot of people, including yourself, are getting him a lot of flack. And looks like the offense is working at a pro level. So they're an interesting team. I mean, still no defense. Still only one real true receiver who you can trust, even though Luke McCaffrey's getting some stuff done. So very, very interesting. Very interesting. I still don't know what I fully think about them either.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have a question about them later in our true or false segment, but for me, I mean, the offense is really when you get 4 to 5 yards on first down every time, just running the ball, it opens up your playbook so much on second down for your passing game, and
Mm-hmm.
that I think Jane Daniels is benefiting from that. And I mean, the first 2 weeks, it was like, man, this guy just goes through one read, and if the one read's not there, he takes off and runs. But since then, since like week 2, he's kind of learned to go through his progressions. So
Mm-hmm.
I think Commanders could win the NFC East. I really think because the rest of that division is not that like the Giants, no, Cowboys, major question marks, and the Eagles. I just don't think they're like I don't think they're coached well at all. Like I wonder if the Eagles almost regret bringing back Sirianni at this point. Like
Maybe so. Maybe so.
because it's 4 weeks and it looks exactly the same
Mm-hmm.
as it did final 10 weeks or so. And the offense, I mean, Jalen Hurts, he's been all right, but I mean, and I don't want to because that game they didn't have AJ Brown or Devontae Smith. But like if Saquon doesn't rip off these long runs, the Eagles are really their offense is completely useless.
Yeah.
Saints, he ripped off a long run this past week. He ripped off a long run that eventually led to a touchdown. So I think the Commanders have a real shot of winning this division. I just want to see this for a few more weeks before I totally buy into them because that defense is still a major concern for me.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Let's move on to the final game we'll talk about from week 4, Sunday Night Football. We both picked the Bills. This is a classic Ravens game, like on prime time where they blow out a team. And the Ravens, I think, were in a much more dire situation. They were 1-2 entering this game. And I'm not saying if they lost, their season would be over. But if they lose this game, they're 1-3 going to the next game against a division rival. I mean, they absolutely outplay the Bills from like literally the first snap. Derrick Henry ran for a 7-yard touchdown. So, and I don't know if your faith was ever lost in the Ravens, but if it was, has your faith been restored in the Ravens and potentially being, Super Bowl contender? And you probably still thought they were, but
I never lost it. I thought that was ridiculous. I think they had a goofy game against the Raiders, and they nearly came back against the Chiefs. I think what this showed, they're gonna. I mean, I think I feel really good about them, and I literally have nothing against the Bills. I think they're probably just due for this. You're facing a tough team. You've been great 3 weeks. Some unfortunate stuff. I think that strip, Allen could have flipped the game right there. So it was a tough one for that. The Ravens are tough.
Baltimore's finally played to their identity.
Yeah, Ravens are a tough. They're the best run defense in football, so that is tough for the Bills. And I think that we're all seeing that McDonald. As I said, I don't think it really mattered that he left, and I think we see that. I think we see that. It just took a few weeks. I think Mike McDonald, your coach, guess what? Jim Harbaugh runs the show. It's not. It's not a coordinator-driven team. I mean, they change coordinators. Coordinators get head coaching jobs, and they're always fine because Harbaugh's one of the best coaches in football, and it'll always be that way. And I mean, their run attack is awesome. The offense is playing how it should. Derrick Henry may lead the league in rushing again. That's
Yeah,
something I also.
I think he was 1 yard short of 200 this game, and he ran for
That's,
151 against Dallas.
yeah,
So he's
that's
over
something
like
else
350
I'm
yards.
gonna talk about later in the true and false section. Not, I mean, in a way, we can talk about it. But yeah, the Ravens. I mean, with the Chiefs' injuries, if someone said, "Hey, I think the Ravens are the best team in the AFC," I can't hate it. I can't hate it. I honestly, I could think about it. I mean, I don't even. I'd have to think about who I think the best team is. I mean, if Rasheed Rice wasn't hurt, it'd be Chiefs. But with that, now I'm just in this. I don't really know.
I think for right now, I mean, because Steelers, like I'm not even going off record because I don't think Steelers are one of the top 3 teams in the AFC, even though they are 3-1. I mean, my top 3 teams, and this isn't in a specific order, but I'd probably say Bills, Ravens, Chiefs are probably
Yeah,
top 3.
I
And
think that's yeah.
I think you can make an argument for any of them. I mean, Chiefs for me because of the Rasheed Rice injury probably falls third in that order. But like with Mahomes, you can't really doubt the Chiefs, and with Andy Reid and Travis Kelce and Chris Jones, and they kind of figure out ways to win.
Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, yeah. I do think you should put him in your bet and just for the anytime touchdown leg. It feels like he scored like for in Kansas City on Monday night. I can definitely see Kareem Hunt scoring this week. But yeah, for the top 3 teams, I think it's Bills, Chiefs, Ravens.
Yeah,
And I don't
I think so too.
that's really a conversation, to be quite honest.
And if you want Chiefs because they back to back and still think and they'll get the receiver, sure. If you want Bills because they're like 3-9, you're just saying they had a bad game against the Ravens, sure. But and if you want the Ravens because they beat the Bills and nearly beat the Chiefs, and so I get it all there. That's really like as long as you have those top 3, I think that's fine.
Yeah, and for on the Bills side, I'm not really concerned. I mean, everybody's going to point to, oh, they missed Stephon Diggs. I think they're absolutely fine. I think that type of reaction is kind of just overboard. I think it's just a game where the Ravens are at home in prime time, kind of needing a win. You don't want to fall to 1-3 and fall 2 games behind the division leader. I think all of that was kind of against the Bills, so I'm not going to really worry about the Bills. I just hope that this play style, because Josh Allen's a great player, but I'm just worried about these injuries. I mean, he almost got hurt on that play, the strip sack.
But that was a strip sack. That's just happens to everyone. You mentioned Josh Allen's play style every time we talk about him. Every time you're talking about he's going to get hurt.
I just say he's a great player.
Yeah, but you always mention the same thing, and I say this every time. You're like, well, I say he's a great player. Well, yeah, he's a great player, but you mention the play style injury things all the time. When guess what? He never misses games. Mahomes misses more games. Lamar, Burrow, Herbert, they all miss more games than Allen. Yeah. But they all miss more games than Allen, and you keep talking about it.
Do we want to move on to the Davante Adams?
Yes.
All right. So a couple days ago, post on Instagram that said that Davante Adams may play his last snap as a Las Vegas Raider, and Antonio Pierce liked it. And then Davante Adams was asked about it, and he said that there's no communication between him and the coach, and he has since then requested a trade. And as Luke said, I think the rumor is the top 2 teams on his list are the Jets and Saints, which makes sense because he's played with both quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. Are there any other teams that you think should be, or that make more sense for Davante Adams fit-wise, and just like for if he wants to win or, just better situation?
I mean, I like the Bills as an option, but they may not be going that route. But I think he could be non-diva-ish. And so I think that wouldn't be bad. I think Cowboys would be great.
I just don't think, because for a team to trade with Adams, they have to come up with a contract. And for Cowboys, I just don't think that makes financially does not make sense, especially if you're going to pay Micah.
Unless you don't pay Micah, which would be crazy. But even though he's not looking like the superstar, and now he's hurt, but he'd still pay Micah. Um,
And I saw Cleveland was going, which
yeah, which it'd
that
have to
makes
be for
no.
Amari.
Are they just going after like? Do they not realize that they're paying?
Yeah, I don't know
It's
exactly
not
what
like
their plan is. Washington, I think would be good. Um, NFC's kind of good on receiver unless Atlanta did something, which they could, but probably doesn't make sense.
for me. It's just like
Pittsburgh,
it's Pittsburgh. Yeah, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Buffalo, Jets. I see a lot more fits on the AFC side,
yeah.
the NFC, and the only reason I think the Saints are in the race is because of Derek Carr. So, like, if they didn't have Derek Carr, he would not be interested in going to Saints. But yeah, for me, I think he ends up with the Jets. I think that's where he ends up going. Just with the relationship with Rodgers, they kind of need another playmaker there because teams are taking away Garrett Wilson. To me, the Jets make most sense.
I'm gonna say he goes to Pittsburgh. I don't feel. I'm. This isn't one where I'm like I'm
See,
gonna
Pittsburgh's
hammer
just not.
down.
They're not aggressive type of franchise to make this type of
But they
move.
were working on Ayuk, and they were gonna pay him big money, and they really wanted Ayuk. And I think they're looking at it and like, okay, Justin Fields he's all right. He's all right. And if you give him a second guy, be a little better than all right, and it can help the run game. It's a gut feel, but it's not a strong gut feel. I really don't know. I'd say Pittsburgh is like my one. Like if I had to guess, I'd put them at the highest odds in my own brain for like plus 250, and then the Jets would be like plus 270, like right there. The Saints one is
You wouldn't have
interesting.
Jets as a favorite. Like you can have
No.
your opinion that he
Well,
goes, but I think Jets should
yeah,
be viewed
okay.
as a
No,
favorite.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Jets should probably be favored, but in my gut, weird feeling, like Jets would just be right behind them. I do think Saints is interesting. I mean, Rashid Shaheed he's clearly a nice player.
I don't think he's a two though.
I mean, yeah, but he's not the worst two out there for sure.
I'm not saying
But
that, but he's just like to me, he's more of a field stretcher. Like I don't see him as an actual like two.
I mean, he had 11 targets, 8 catches for 83 yards against Atlanta. If you take away the Philly game, which was a mess, I mean, he's had over 70 yards in all 3 other games. But yeah, but that'd be 3 great receivers. Olave looks back to himself. Shaheed, Davante, you have Kamara's playing great. Taysom Hill. That'd make it to where it's like, man, that's one of the most talented offenses. Derek Carr just plays well, and Derek Carr's at a point where I don't even know about Derek Carr anymore. Whatever he's doing.
I still even if he lands at the Saints, I still wouldn't buy into the Saints. I still wouldn't buy into him because I do
I mean,
not trust Derek Carr.
Derek Carr was pretty solid against Atlanta. He's pretty solid.
Okay,
He's
but since those 2 weeks, he's reverted back to the quarterback that we've known.
no, but Atlanta was this week, and he's
Okay,
pretty
I know
solid.
that the last two, yeah,
But you
and
just said,
I'm still not gonna buy into after the 2-0 start. I didn't buy into him.
well, yeah, but you just said he reverted back. He was good this week.
That's more about week 3 than
They lost. Falcons had 2 defense touchdowns, and they kicked Young Hoku hit a 58-yarder to win the game, which I loved.
Well,
by the
that
way.
final
That's
drive for
perfect
Atlanta
me.
was
Yeah, Atlanta
absurd.
should
Like,
not have won that game.
that was a terrible final drive. Like
Yeah, but
not even like the results of the play, but just like why are we running deep routes when we have no timeouts and
that made no sense. As someone who had a final leg with Atlanta, that I was infuriated.
like
But
why are we when we need 10 yards throwing go routes to
it made no sense.
Drake London and like
I
like,
honestly think like they're like, let's get a PI or make a play. I think that was the
yeah, but like
and
even when
usually
they got the PI, they weren't in for sure field goal.
no,
Like they were
I
on the
know, but I
39
think
or
that was
something.
the
But
whole drive was chuck it deep, don't underthrow it. Just in my opinion, don't underthrow it. Either make a great play or get a PI. That's what I think, and that was ridiculous, and I was so mad. But then Koo saved the day. God bless him. Great kicker. But I still think the Saints. I mean, I think Carr had a good game. He didn't have any touchdowns because Taysom Hill ran him in. But I think
well,
the
I think
Saints.
the thing is Taysom Hill. I think he picked up a chest injury, which he was dealing with before the season. So I don't know if he's
Yeah.
going to be.
I mean, they don't
available.
need Taysom Hill, but he's so annoying. He's so annoying, but like I don't
Like
hate.
he's annoying all like even football and like if you play fantasy football.
I respect it, as I
Oh my
like to
god,
say.
you
Because you
mean
can't
love to
not
say?
yeah, you can't not respect what Taysom Hill does. I mean, the dude was a quarterback. And he like, can't really throw the ball, but he all of a sudden forms this way to where he's still a player in the NFL. Just like it makes no sense, but he's done it, and he's 34. He's old as hell. So
What was the contract they
pretty
gave
cool.
him? Was it literally like like a crazy contract they gave him like a couple years? Was it like 4 years? Like it was some
I think
crazy the way it was
I think that
structured.
was the voided thing, but really it's like 15 a year or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think Adams goes to the Saints as long as the ball doesn't get too distributed just to one player, and it's
But the thing with the Saints is, like I said earlier, whoever trades for Davante Adams is going to have to work out a contract. Their cap space situation next year is terrible.
I mean if they figure this out, then I'd just be like, dude, they figure it out all the time. I mean, it hasn't been said that they're interested. It's said that Adams is on the wish list. That doesn't mean they're not
That's
interested.
why I don't think he. So wait, you have him going to Steelers?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see the Saints as a realistic
Wish lists don't
landing
always
spot.
work out.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's Jets.
I
Like I
think
said, I think it's
Steelers.
those 4 AFC teams.
If you're the Steelers, I think you have to look at it and be like, we can win this. We can BS a Super Bowl appearance, and like, but we need another star. We need. This
I don't think they
offense
could
to
be as
be.
a Super Bowl appearance, but they can definitely, if they get like winning the division is definitely realistic if you
But
get
if you
Adams.
get Davante and you win the division in this, if you're facing a Chiefs who won't have a superstar offense,
So what's your opinion of Justin Fields if he let's say and I don't
he's
think this happens
solid.
at all.
He's all right. He's all right.
Is he
I
better
still
than
don't
Daniel
think he's
Jones?
that. No, I don't think you could definitely say he's better than Daniel Jones at this
I'm
point.
not saying right now. I'm not saying that right now at all.
I think he's fine. He's fine, and he can get better. And you gotta be happy that he progressed to a team that likes to actually teach players how to play football. So that's cool. I don't think I'm not gonna hate on Justin. I mean, I think I was right about Justin Fields in Chicago. Like I think you see Darnell Mooney. It's like, oh, he's actually a good receiver. And I think it's both on Fields and the Chicago
I
coaching
mean, I
and
think we're learning that
management
about
on that.
Chicago this season with Caleb Williams.
I mean,
They're putting
I
stuff.
remember saying Caleb Williams was going to struggle anyways because he's so
Well, yeah, he's a
raw.
rookie. He's a rookie. Yeah.
But it's not just he's a rookie; he's so raw. If you watch him in college, like this will not translate immediately. So we'll see.
All right, let's move on to true or false. So what this will be is we'll each ask or present a statement to the other person, and they will tell them if it's true or false. So do you want to start out with your first statement, or do you want me to go?
You go. Okay. So I wrote down 6, and I picked 3, but I don't know which order I want to do. And I think they're kind of interesting. They're probably 2 of them are like not probably exactly what you thought, but one of them's a more common type of thing. So you start.
All right, and I'm very curious this first one. I'm very curious. So this first one I have is Jaden Daniels will be universally viewed as the best quarterback in the NFC East by week 12.
I say yes. And I view him. That question's making me again decide my next question because it's somewhat related a little bit. But yes, I think he's already the best quarterback in the NFC East. I have I've kind of looked at quarterbacks, and I actually have a top
So
50.
do you have where do you have Dak? Do you have Dak as a top 10
Well,
guy?
okay, give me a second. Give me a second on that. I will get to that after I ask my question to you. I mean, I think Daniel's a top 10 guy. I'll say that. I think he's a top 10 guy. I have my list right here. I wrote out for my next question here. But I already think he's the best, and I think by week 12 it will be universally the best. And so that's an easy agreement for me. And then my next question is, has the top 10 to 15 quarterbacks is it drastically shifting? True or false? Like the order.
So you still have like Josh Allen, Mahomes.
I still have this top 6/7 are pretty basic, but 8 through 15 I have changed personally drastically.
See, I'm trying to think of a way to answer this question. I'm gonna say false. I don't think I think it's maybe there's been small alterations, but I don't see like what's a player that like are you saying like Brock Purdy's like jumped off the board? Is that something that you're saying?
Yes,
like
that's one of the things
okay. So
I'm gonna
Brock
go through
Purdy.
my list.
Yeah, go through your list and I'll have a better idea.
So okay, basic
how to answer
first
the question.
6 and /7. Mahomes is 1, Allen 2, Lamar 3, Burrow 4, Herbert 5, Stroud 6, Stafford 7. So that's pretty basic.
I'm surprised you do have Herbert as top 5 because I always thought you were kind of low.
Stroud hasn't looked Super
No.
Stroud, it's 1 year. It could be like in 3 weeks. And it's like, okay. But Houston's offense is kind of, again, I didn't like the Diggs thing. I almost made that one of my questions, but, they're still 3-1. Purdy is 8. Purdy is my 8th best quarterback in the league.
Okay, who do you have at 9? Who do you have at?
Baker's at 9.
Okay.
Baker's, I mean, he had a whole year in Tampa. He took that. They didn't make the playoffs with Brady, and then he won a playoff game, and he almost beat the Lions. And I have Daniels at 10. Daniels at 10.
Okay.
And I have Goff at 11, Dak at 12, Love at 13. Jordan Love could get in the top 10 and pass up Daniels pretty quickly. I just have to see it a few more times. He hasn't been great in his 2 games he's played, but he's been hurt. I still think
Does the Malik Willis performance kind of
a little slightly
downgrade level? Like that's why that was the thing I was talking about. I think he's almost, and I'm not saying he's only a system quarterback, but I think the system kind of elevates him a bit. Like I think it's kind of proven with the Malik Willis games.
No, yeah, I mean, would Malik Willis do last year what Jordan Love did? No, but I think that he's at 13 now because he just needs a game where I just watch and like, okay, I'm 100% sold. So he's at 13. Hurts is at 14, and Kyler's at 15. And for me,
I would flip flop, even though I would flip flop Kyler and Hurts.
Kyler was top 10 for me. Hurts was top 10 for me.
How far did you go down the list?
I went to 15, but like I had 3. I forgot about Love.
Okay, name the 3 players because I'm at Hurts. 16, I may have lower.
17, 18.
Yeah,
Geno Smith, Aaron Rodgers, Sam Darnold. I think Rodgers would be 16.
To be honest, I think I'm lower on Hurts than most people. I don't think I'll push him past those. Like I don't think I'll put him farther back than those 3. But in a few weeks, he could be behind like a Darnold or something. Because I think Darnold's more talented than Hurts. Hurts
well, the thing is that Kyler's more talented than.
No, but I think the thing is, outside of the 1 year we had everything perfect, and he still has really good weapons. And what was his turnover? I mean, he's a turnover machine. Mm-hmm. No matter how you put it, he's turnover prone, and he doesn't have a great arm. You don't really see a lot of zip on the ball. So if he's not cleaning the deep pass, I think Hurts has been one of the most overrated quarterbacks since that.
I mean, I think he had a great year. I mean, I still look back to this Super Bowl, and that was a fantastic Super Bowl.
It feels very Carson Wentz-esque. It really has the same vibes to me.
I
think they're 2 completely different players, but Wentz had that great year, and then unfortunately had the injury. Like I think if he does get injured, we're having a completely different conversation about Wentz. But it's very Wentz-esque to me.
Yeah, I think Howie Roseman's kind of overrated. I think you got to respect him for getting AJ Brown and the Barclays.
I think he watches a lot of mock drafts on ESPN.
Yeah, he's overrated. I mean, I remember when they traded for Dotson, you liked it, and I was like, I don't even know if he's good. Washington just traded a division rival for a reason, and he sucks. But yeah, so like Hurts was top 10 for maybe 4 years. So was Kyler. So was Love. So was like literally the 7 through 10 is like
the Baker thing's a little too rich for me. But
Baker's been good.
He's been very good. But top. So who do you have top? You have 9.
Yeah.
Who do you have at 10 and 11?
Daniels is at 10. He's a rookie, and he's playing great. He has potential to pass many people, but you got to give it time. And Goff.
Okay.
I think Baker's better than Goff.
Conversation.
I think Baker's better. I think he's more mobile.
I think Goff is very dependent on good offensive line play.
Yeah, Baker can. I think they're close, but
like for this question, I'll probably say true. But like with quarterback rankings, it's so tough to.
There's overall a shift in quarterbacks. The top is staying the same, but the middle, and like I didn't include Tua in here because I don't even know what to do with him.
You think he's gonna be top 10? I don't think he's close to top 10.
No, he's not top 10.
Even if he was healthy, I wouldn't have him. I would have him in the range of Kyler. I would have him in the range of Kyler and Jalen Hurts, like somewhere in there.
And like, who else wasn't on here? Like Kirk Cousins, that's another fall because he has I think the Achilles affected him. I think Achilles affected him. Then Derek Carr's moved up. He's looking better. What else is there? I mean, Just Fields moving up, but he's nowhere near top 15.
No, he's probably.
I don't think Deshaun's way off the list now.
Trevor's a top.
I would definitely had him near top 15
before the year. I did not have that high,
I would have.
and I'm
I
not even a
was.
fan of like some of these guys in the 15th.
Trevor Lawrence is fallen. I mean, it's a mess. It's in a mess. I think it's flip flopping everywhere. But you can go to your next question.
My next question. So, the 4 NFC division leaders currently are the Vikings, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Commanders, and Seahawks. My question to you is: 2 of the current 4 NFC division leaders will miss the playoffs. True or false?
So Minnesota's going to make it. Tampa is going to make it. So I'm going to say false. I don't know which one, but Seattle or Washington is making the playoffs. I think San Fran's winning that division. I think that's super easy for me. Like San Fran's going to win the division. I don't know what the odds are right now. They're probably still like minus something, but San Fran's going to win the division. I actually still really like San Fran. They should be 3-1. They had a goofy loss against Rams, division rival. Brock Purdy looks, as I said, he's 8 now. Like I'm just watching him. Like not even caring who's throwing through. Like just watching him. Like he's looking pretty good. And then Washington, they may win the division. I wouldn't pick them to win the division, but dude, it's actually. I'm gonna say false, but I'm very. Oh, shoot, am I even gonna say false? Because I think Tampa's just gonna make it division or wild card. Minnesota's gonna win, is gonna make it, and Detroit made win the division, and I still think Packers should make it. And so I would potentially be out of wild card. I'm gonna say false. I'm not gonna predict which one, but I'm gonna say false. But that's a good one. That's a good one. I like that question.
Yeah, and the NFC to me, I was thinking about doing also AFC side, but the NFC to me, like if you just look at teams not in the playoffs right now, I mean, I don't think Dallas makes playoffs, but you have Dallas, Philly, you have Green Bay, San Francisco. I think the Rams are probably not going to make it now. But like to me,
I mean, if New Orleans would get Davante, I'd be like, shoot. I think they. Oh, that's a good one. I like that, Logan.
Yeah, because when I think for me the 2 that are the most susceptible to fall out is probably Tampa and Washington. Because I think Atlanta's going to end up winning the division, and I don't know if Tampa Bay's going to keep this up because very banged up secondary, their older roster. I just don't, and they've I think like 17, 18 injuries on the roster right now. So Tampa Bay and Washington's defense is just not. I don't know. I mean,
that's a good question. I'm gonna say false.
Yeah, I think those 2 are the most susceptible to, or most likely to, follow the playoff picture by that time of the year.
Okay, I'll go conventional one. My second one. What? Cincinnati they've lost. They're not going to be a contender. I think they're never going to win a Super Bowl. Burrow. I think that's kind of like overarching, but they're not a contender right now for a Super Bowl.
So you're saying rest of like foreseeable future they're not a contender.
Foreseeable future. So they're just not a contender.
I'm saying false. That one's I think right now if they lose this week they won't be this year. We still have Burrow.
Oh, this year they are not winning the Super Bowl this year. I think that's
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying like if they beat Baltimore this week, I'm not counting out the Ravens until I see what happens on Sunday. Like if they win, their schedule kind of lines up a bit. So I'm gonna say false. Like so you're saying true or false for like for foreseeable future
this year and next couple years. Not they're outside a Super Bowl contender window. Maybe.
I'm going to say false. I still really like Joe Burrow a lot. I think if he stays healthy, the 2 years he's been healthy, and I know he's hurt all the time, but the 2 years he's been healthy, they've been to the Super Bowl and AFC title game. And
yes, I understand that, but
I think that's
they're losing people. They're losing.
I realize that, but they're going to keep Chase. I think they'll keep Chase. For me, like if they lose, if by like the trade deadline they're whatever. I don't even know when the trade deadline is, like what week it is, but let's say they're like 3 and 6 or something like that. I could see them ship off Higgins. So like this year would be out of the books for them, but to say they will never be Super Bowl contenders again.
Okay,
I think that's a bit of a knee-jerk reaction based on what we've seen so
case?
far. I'm saying that one pretty to me false.
They don't have that. I don't trust head coach. They get a new head coach. Obviously, the ownership. They won't.
The ownership's the biggest.
They won't pay big money.
Yeah,
and that's the reason. I mean, they're not. How many stars do they have? They have Burrow, whose contract I don't even know if it's kicked in. Chase isn't even on a big contract yet. He doesn't even have a big contract
Wait,
yet.
but we knew that they weren't going to pay Higgins. Like, I don't think we can use that
Okay,
against them.
but who are they paying? Who are
Hendrickson,
the stars on their team outside of
Hendrickson.
Hendrickson and their passing game?
Well, a lot of their team right now is drafted. Like their offensive line, they drafted. Oh, I guess they signed some of them, but they've drafted like their tackles. They like
Yeah, and
Amaris Mims.
they have not been able to build a good O line, and
I'm
they probably
if
won't
it,
be able to. Their defense, even like their one of their second best defenders, Logan Wilson. I mean, have they paid him yet? Or I think he's on a new contract. Taylor Britt. I mean, he's getting. They're about to have to pay people, and they're not even paying anyone. And Hendrickson wants to go. You're losing Higgins. You lost Mixon. You can't build an O line. I'm sorry, Burrow and Chase are not going to carry a whole team to Super Bowl. I don't think they're ever going to. Their best defensive years are behind them because they had a whole bunch of people on cheap deals. So that's going to be gone.
they can still like they have opportunities to draft players and build cheap
Yeah,
around Burrow and Chase.
but that's so tough, and I don't think they're going to hit the same draft type of stuff again. I mean, they have 5 sacks this year.
Here's the thing.
3 are Hendrickson.
But here's the thing. Like, so Houston, we view as a contender. Stroud's not gonna be on a rookie deal forever. Like this type.
But
thing.
they
I think it's going to even out a bit. Like when you look at AFC.
No, but the problem is the Bengals they don't have any stars. They're even paying right now. They're not even paying Chase. I don't even know if the Burrows contracts hit. I'd have to look.
I don't think Bengals like to me when I think you're viewing the Bengals like and like they're in like serious trouble or something. I think the teams are in serious trouble just in the AFC alone. Cleveland, Jacksonville.
No,
I
but
think
you
Miami
have a
could be
top
potentially in
5
trouble.
quarterback. You're
Yeah,
not
exactly. And with the
paying
top 5,
anyone.
that's exactly with a top 5 quarterback, you can compete. I
Joe
think that's
Burrow's only a $30 million cap hit this year. It's like what? You're just you're
okay,
not
but
even
that's also
paying
not like I know
Chase.
they don't pay people, but to kind of counter your point, since they're not paying anybody, that does open up opportunities to pay other players and sign other players.
This is the worst they've been. They have no defense. You saw they lost to New England. The Chiefs were terrible, still beat them in that game. Washington just slaughtered them, and the Panthers were moving the ball pretty
Yeah,
well.
for this year, yeah,
But
they
you're
may be.
not going to get better next year. You're literally not getting
Why?
better
You
because you're
can't draft
losing.
players. You
Okay,
can't
but
draft players. Like
that's if you hit great picks. Are they going to hit great picks? If you save money next year, do you know who you have one defensive player who's a stud right now? It's Trey Hendrickson, and he requested a trade. They're a disaster in my opinion. They're just going to be like Burrow keeps them competitive. It's going to be like the Chargers with Philip Rivers. That's how I think he'll go, and I don't think they'll ever get back to Super Bowl unless they have drastic changes.
Okay, getting back to Super Bowl and being Super Bowl contenders are two different things.
Yeah, but I mean, were the Chargers truly? I mean, they went to. I just don't think they're going to be contenders much. I think that the Ravens, Lamar's always going to be better. Mahomes is always going to be better. Allen's there. Stroud, Herbert, they have the better coach. They are going to be at least the 6th best team in terms of Super Bowl contenders in just the AFC, and that could get worse depending on how these other AFC teams build. So because of that, they're always going to be behind those 5 for me.
I think if they keep
For the
Zach
future.
Taylor, I would be like if they keep Zach because I don't think Zach Taylor's a good coach. Like I just don't. I think he's been kind of carried by Burrow. Like he was a quarterback coach for Rams and then jumps all the way up to a head coaching job. If they keep him, then it's like.
And at Pittsburgh, I mean, if Justin Fields can be a good quarterback, you're behind Pittsburgh now too because they have Mike Tomlin. And guess what? You're not going to get a coach who's going to build a culture like a Harbaugh, or Tomlin, or a Reed. So you're just always going to be behind these teams, and your ownership sucks. You're not even paying anyone, and you're going to have a ton of money for Burrow and Chase, and you can't even keep Higgins, and you're not paying anyone right now, and you're going to lose Higgins. It's like I don't see it. You lost Mixon. I was wrong on him. He's a good player. I don't see it. And you still can't build a line, and you just never will because they're not winning Super Bowls. They're not.
Well, being Super Bowl times and winning Super Bowls, that's two different. I don't know.
But okay, you know what I mean.
Are you asking me? Okay, so
they're not. I'm sticking with the contender, but I'm just saying the phrase. They're not winning Super Bowls.
Okay. I'll say false. I still think that they can make a run at some point, and I know.
And Burrow's injury history. I didn't even bring that up. His wrist could die on him at any moment, and then he has to deal with that for 4 weeks. not contenders.
My last one, and this is kind of a boring one, but I think it should be kind of talked about. Doug Peterson will be fired if the Jags lose this week.
So you're saying he'd be fired before week 6 if they lose to the Colts?
Before they go to London for 2 weeks.
That's such a tough one for me because do you fire him? You can't fire him during London.
No, but can you they lose and they're stuck in London for 2 weeks, and you already know that they're kind of just done with him anyway.
Yeah, it's tough. So, but I think if he's 0-5, he's fired.
And you lose to Joe Flacco. Like I think Joe Flacco's
Richardson.
Solid.
We don't know who the QB
or Richardson. Well, I think it's gonna be Flacco, but yeah, that's. I don't think you keep him.
Yeah, I think he's fired because we'll get to our picks later, but.
And that game's at home too against Colts. So yeah.
If you're 0-5, I mean, if Trevor Lawrence looks bad again, I don't even know what to think about Trevor Lawrence at the moment. I'm just
at this point, I kind of think he needs just a fresh start, not like a new team, but he needs another coach in there. Like who's
100%.
Like who's I don't
even know.
The vibes are like Doug Peterson's basically throwing his players under the bus in a press conference.
No, it's done. Doug Peterson will not get another head coaching job.
No, because we saw in Philadelphia.
I don't want to. Yeah,
he won the Super Bowl and then it was a steady decline. That's exactly what's happening here.
Well, this isn't even a steady decline. This is a decline.
I think Trevor Lawrence has lost his last 10 games.
I think he's 1-9 in his last 10. I think.
Okay,
or maybe he's lost his last 10. I think. Because they won a game without him. They won a game without him. That's what happened. Yeah. So I think he has lost his last 10. Crazy.
And these games contract this off. Yeah,
they're a mess. They're classic Jacksonville Jaguars. And it's funny, classic Jacksonville Jaguars and classic Cleveland Browns is just terrible organizations. But the Lions hire a guy like MCDC. Changes everything.
Go ahead with your... Because you said true on that one, right?
Yeah.
All right, so
okay, running back age is way less relevant than it was the past few years, and you can get the older running backs. You don't need to worry about age as much anymore.
False.
Okay, can I break it down? So, obviously, Chris McCaffrey, but, his Achilles, I think that's always going to happen. These are running backs, I think only Josh Jacobs on this list is 26, but I include him because he's close to 27. 27's been that year. Like, you turn 27. So here are just some ones who are 27 and above who are relevant. David Montgomery. I don't think he's slowing down. Joe Mixon. He looks the best he's looked in his career. Austin Eckler still looks good. That's a lesser one. James Conner still looks good. Alvin Kamara. I don't even know how. I didn't even check Kamara's age. He has to be like 29.
I think he's like 29 or 30.
Yeah, Kamara is one of the best running backs in this league. Derrick Henry is going to lead the league in rushing. Aaron Jones is playing fantastic. Saquon Barkley may win Offensive Player of the Year. He's 27. And Kareem Hunt hasn't played. He's 29, and he looks pretty good. So I look at these running backs. I'm like, I'm tired of worrying about running backs' age. Until you decline, I'm not going to be like, oh, you hit 27. And I mean, the Giants made a mistake. They made a mistake on Barkley. They should not.
Well, they could have cut him if they just didn't sign. If they tag Daniel Jones.
Okay, that's not relevant. The whole Daniel Jones thing. They just made a mistake on Barkley. They could have signed him. You could just.
It's kind of relevant. That's why they got.
Because they could have signed Barkley. It's not like they couldn't fit the money. They 100% could have fit the money with Daniel Jones' contract still there. So don't just bring up the Daniel Jones contract and bring it up. They just didn't sign him. They made the decision to sign Singletary because you take away the Singletary money, you have Barkley easy. Because they offered him a deal close, but they literally said, "Oh, he's turning 27." So I'm just looking at this like Jonathan Taylor. You're telling me in a year he's gonna be worse? He looks like a stud right now. I mean, what if Nick Chubb comes back and looks good? That even furthers the point to a whole nother level. I mean, the top running backs leaders in yards are Henry, Mason's 25, Barkley 27, Kamara 29, Taylor's 25, but he's old 25, Jacobs 25, Dobbins 25, Jacobs 26. How old's Aaron?
Yeah, wait, you said Taylor's 25. Well, he doesn't. That's not the 27 club.
But you're so you think in 2 years he's going to be way worse?
I'm not saying that, but I'm
But
saying
that's
if we're talking about running back fall offs,
James Conner's at 12 in rushing yards. David Montgomery's at 14, and he doesn't even get a full workload. I don't see this like age stuff really. You have a ton of Tony Pollard's doing all right, and he's at 16 and he's 17. He's in a split backfield. I mean, what are we talking about? There's not these young running backs are not leading the league in rushing. Bijan's at 20. Gibbs is at
well, I think it's also
13.
there's also circumstances like Bijan's just not getting a full workload. Like he got 7 carries
Okay,
this
but
past week. He
Aaron
got
Jones
7
isn't getting a
carries,
full workload. He's
but
in a
Aaron Jones getting way
committee.
more. Bijan had 7 carries. Like Aaron
He's
Jones,
in
how
a
many carries did he
committee.
have?
These other
Okay,
people are in
Louis, it's not
committees.
the
David
Vikings.
Montgomery's
Okay,
Montgomery.
Okay, but the Vikings is not really a committee. Ty Chandler had 3 carries compared to Aaron Jones like 22.
Tony Pollard has more yards than him. He's in a committee. What are you talking about? These
You have to look at the
older
rushing
running
attempts. Just because there's 2 running backs. doesn't
No,
mean it's a
the
fall-off
yards per
committee.
carry are
Okay, no, I'm not arguing that.
running
point.
backs with better yards and carry than Bijan, who I've mentioned. Pollard's 0.1 yards
but
behind.
like Minnesota is not a committee.
No, you just said yards per carry. You just said
No, I didn't say yards per carry.
You said carries. So then
no.
you're looking at yards per carry. Let me finish. David Montgomery has a
saying
higher yards
amount
per
carries
carry.
you get.
James Conner has a higher yards per carry. Jones has a higher yards per carry. Jacobs has a higher yards per carry. Kamara has a higher yards per carry. And Derrick Henry has a higher yards per carry. So even if he had the same amount of rushing attempts, he'd have less yards.
I'm not arguing that point. I'm arguing the point of saying committee. Aaron Jones is not really in a committee. You can say that, yeah.
What about David Montgomery?
No, he's in a committee. I absolutely agree with
Tony
that.
Pollard, committee. These people are in. It's not just committee. He has less rushing yards per carry than them. The older running backs are doing well, and we don't even have Christian McCaffrey right now because he has double Achilles tendonitis, which I don't think that's age. I think he's always been hurt.
That's usage.
I know he was hurt early on in his life.
I know, but he's had 400 plus touches last 3 years.
But what's your argument to 3 27-year-olds in the top 4?
Okay,
if McCaffrey's healthy, it'd be
like I was about to say before you cut me off. A lot of this, and I'm going to disagree with you on this. A lot of it is circumstances, like the type of offense, the amount of work you get. Like Bijan Robinson, I still think. Like, would you rank all these guys from Bijan?
No,
like,
that's not the point. That's not the point.
Okay, but leading the league in rushing, you also have to get rushing attempts. Yeah, yards per carry, that's a great stat to look at. But when you don't get rush attempts, you're not going to lead the league in rushing. So for Bijan to be top 4 in rushing right now, because he's getting, I don't know, he got 7. Let's say he's getting 10 carries a week. He has to be running for like 7 yards a clip.
Yeah, but he's not doing great with the carries.
Okay, but he has 7 carries. Of course, you're not going to lead the league in rushing when you have 7 carries.
But that's my whole point. But like Derrick Henry, how old's Derrick Henry? He's 30. He's
okay, but Derrick Henry, that's an absolutely outlier situation.
What about Barkley's 27? He's literally at that age.
He just turned 27.
Okay, Kamara is 20. What about Kamara? He's 29.
Okay, he's been very, but like even like last year before, he was like.
Because the offense.
There are points where.
What about Aaron Jones?
That's exactly my point, though. I just said circumstance. Now you're saying the offense.
But if you say circumstance, everyone's in a circumstance, Logan. But your argument has been that once they hit, you should just get rid of them. Why? They're playing well. How old's James Conner?
I never said get rid of them. I never said the word get rid of them.
But you don't want to pay running backs. James Conner's 29, and the offense isn't even that great, but he's still playing well. Like, I just think this whole concept that running backs die at 27.
Do I think the league has devalued running backs too much? Yes, I do agree with that. But at the same time, like, and like Joe Mixon got paid. I don't know how they structured that contract.
And he just looked pretty good. I think these running backs are lasting longer than people like. Derrick Henry could be a good running back at 35. He just could. David Montgomery is 27. He is doing well. These guys are older. You're not telling me that. People thought Josh Jacobs was done, and he's 26 because he had a weird week
so here's the thing. Like Raheem Mostert is actually a great example. I know he's done nothing this year. But because he had no wear and tear on his body at 29, like when he was 29, 28, 27.
I didn't mention I mentioned running backs with plenty of wear and tear.
Okay, but my point, but I just think, I don't know. I think two of your questions are too murky, in my opinion. Like this one saying
they're not
running
murky. They're more in-depth thoughts. They're not the basic ones.
I think running backs have been devalued too much, but I'm not gonna.
That's saying about
I'm not giving a running back like 20.
I wasn't even a Joe Mixon fan. He's 28 and he looks better than he ever did. I think the concept that running backs die at 27, I think it's dead. I think it's dead. I don't see it at all. If you look at the evidence, they are not dying at 27. You have a 30-year-old leading the league in rushing. You have a 29-year-old who also does a lot of passing work, is fourth in rushing. You have, I look at it, I'm like, do I think Taylor's done in 2 years?
No, I'm
No,
not, and
Taylor.
I don't think Taylor will be done 2 years.
But that's my whole point. The
The argument with
27-year-old.
27-year-olds is that they don't just. It's not that they completely.
What
are
Saquon
bad, but
looks amazing. He's going to win Offensive Player of the Year possibly. He's 27. You're telling me in 2 years at 29 he's going to be
it's crazy
like,
how much he flipped on Saquon.
no, but okay, Logan, because don't you sidetrack it because that's the dumbest statement ever. I have eyes, I can see when I'm wrong, and right here I'm seeing that all these running backs. I don't need to stay to. I think Saquon's overrated or not. Daniel Jones and more. I have eyes, Logan. That's
I agree
irrelevant.
that like I just said, the league has brushed off running backs too much, but like I'm not. And I'm not.
Do you
I never
think?
said like
Do you think?
I never said 27. They completely fall off the map. I'm just saying there's a thing. There's data for years that running
But the
backs.
data
have
is
a
wrong.
steady-
But it's a new change now because Kamara looks as good as he's ever had. Barkley has. Henry has. Aaron Jones does. Connor's still good. Montgomery's good. So I think that data it's changing. That's what I'm saying. It's completely shifting. We're seeing a new age of running backs who don't die off right away. And that's for multiple reasons. It's because medicine, it's because of styles, but I think this thought that like in Dynasty, I know we've talked about like, oh, but if you get running back, well then they're done in like 5 years. Meanwhile, receiver can be good for 12. I think that's done. I think it's all done. And I don't know if people really realized it. If Nick Chubb comes back and is good, like I think there's no. I mean, Kareem Hunt just came back 29, and he has wear and tear, and he looked pretty good. And he's been working out for 2 weeks in an NFL facility. So, I mean, Kareem Hunt is about to run for like 700 yards this year, probably if Pacheco's out the whole year, which is crazy. And he's going to miss the first 3 weeks. New age of running backs. It's back to the older school. We're getting, not in terms of style, but in terms of how long these running backs last. Like it back in the 90s and 80s, Eric Dickerson, the Emmitt Smiths, all that. It's coming back.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's not that they decline, but like they're gonna pick up. Like Aaron Jones has always been kind of injury prone. Christian McCaffrey's now we're seeing injuries.
McCaffrey's been hurt his entire career.
But yeah,
and
but
he
I think
can come back and still be.
My thing is not that they just like,
stud.
they start sucking. I think just the usage and overall wear and tear is what.
I don't see them slowing down. Is my point. Joe Mixon, I've not been a fan of. He looks better than he's ever looked, and he's 28, 29, whatever age I said.
I mean, that could also be because he's in a better offense, like we said, it's the Bengals.
But he was in a good offense still with the Bengals, where he had receiving threats all over the place. He looks a lot better because it's not like Bengals running backs can't run because Zach Moss and Chase Brown look pretty solid. So I declined that statement as well.
Are you ready for week 5, or is there anything else you want to?
No, I feel pretty passionate about that one. I think that
I could tell. I can definitely tell.
I think that
what were some? And we won't get into this, but what were like some of your other questions?
Oh,
like,
yeah, Devin Singletary is pretty solid,
27.
Houston's offense is taking a step back, but I was like, they're 3-1.
That's kind of
so no clear best team in football. I felt like
that's another obvious one.
Yeah, that's why I picked these ones that are more conversation inducing, and then Denver is a playoff contender.
Yeah, that one would have been an interesting conversation.
Yeah, that was number 4.
Okay, let's move on to our week 5 predictions. We were talking about before we start recording today. I was 10-6 on the money line and 7-9 against the spread. I don't know what you were last week. I forgot what I think you said 12-4 in money line and
10-6 on the spread. So
okay,
I remember you making fun of me earlier in the year for all my not great predictions, and here I am balling with my picks and with our personal bet of Vikings Bears. So really, I think, and I'm doing well in all my fantasy leagues, even though we share a lot of teams.
We shared 3 of those teams.
But
we shared 3. We're both in 4 leagues, and we shared 3 of the 4 teams.
Yeah, I know. We shared a lot of teams.
That was a dumb statement. If I have to.
But who's 3-1 in our current league? Well,
yeah,
I drafted McCaffrey, and I'm still 3-1. and I drafted Chubb and Brooks, and Cup is hurt, and Drake London's not that good, and I still managed to be 3-1. So I'm looking
Easy
pretty
schedule.
right on a lot, and I hit some nice bets this weekend. So I think if we're looking at who's been more right so far, I think I jumped you easily. Like I am. This is a resurgence unlike anything the history books have ever seen.
I can't wait for next week, and Luke's gonna be distraught. But let's get started.
I picked Denver to beat Tampa, and no one had that.
Okay. We don't have to go through your
should be
entire history.
included.
Can we go to our week 5 picks, please?
Okay, listen to my picks. Or people should listen to my picks, clearly.
Yeah. First game of the week, tomorrow night, Buccaneers at Falcons, division game. And I hate that Thursday night they're just playing all these division games. I really hate it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a huge fan of them. Falcons minus 1.5.
I'm very flippy floppy. I have Falcons circled. I don't feel great about it. I'm picking Falcons. I'm not touching this game with the 1,000-yard pole. Not doing it.
I'll take the Falcons in this one. And, like we were talking about, like law of averages and all that. I just don't see the Buccaneers being 4-1, and Falcons at home. They've kind of picked up their offense a bit, and like Buccaneers are way too injured right now, and Falcons are pretty healthy. I'll take the Falcons and the points in this one. Next game in London, I think it's the first of 3 weeks in London. Jets at Vikings. And the Vikings are only minus 2.5, which I think is kind of surprising based on how they've played and how the Jets look.
So I'm also slightly concerned on this one, but I have to pick the Vikings. I just can't pick the Jets. I think that the London stuff and a pissed off Rodgers is always a little scary, and the Vikings are due for letdown. I was big on Vikings. They're just due for one. And the Jets are a team with their pass rush and secondary, and with Aaron Rodgers at the helm, with some talented offensive pieces. They're a team who can deliver that letdown, but I can't pick it. I just can't pick it.
Yeah, the Vikings' next game is against Detroit, which is a division rival, but that's after a bye week. So I don't think they're like looking past the Jets in this one because they'll have a full bye week to prepare for the Lions.
That's probably really good for them.
Yeah, I like the Vikings in spot a lot. Like, and I hate to say because we have that personal bet, but I don't see what the Jets are doing, especially like Hackett versus Brian Flores. Are we serious? Like the Vikings have given Kyle Shanahan troubles, the Texans offense troubles. For the first half, Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur were over their skis. So what? Now they're gonna get figured out by Nathaniel Hackett and a limited Aaron Rodgers. No, give me the Vikings and the points. I'm pretty confident in that one. Panthers at Bears. Over under 42, and the Bears are favored by 3.5 at home.
So at first this week, I was like really big on Bears in this, but then I've kind of like this could be close. I'm still picking Bears and Bears to cover. I'm picking a lot of favorites to cover, which is not like me, but it's like you. But
just make your flipping pick.
I have Bears winning and covering, but I'm not nearly as positive as I was on it 24 hours ago. More I've thought about it.
See, we've seen Andy Dalton play well for 2 weeks. I don't think he's gonna keep playing. And this Bears defense is legit. Like it's legit. Like it gave, and I know the Rams had a lot of injuries, pretty well documented. But I mean, they gave Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay a lot of problems. I like the Bears in spot, and I don't think it may not be a blowout, but I can see him winning by 6-7 points, which would cover the spread. So I'll take the Bears and the points in this one as well. If it was in Carolina, I'd be tempted to take the Bears winning, but Carolina covering. Next game, Ravens at Bengals. We kind of talked earlier about this one. Baltimore minus 2.5, and the over-under is actually 50.5. So they're kind of expecting, and I mean, Bengals have no defense, and Baltimore late in game struggle in the past game. So where do you see this game going?
I think Ravens slaughter them. Not slaughter exactly, but like 37-24 types. Ravens have no defense. Derrick Henry has 350 yards in the past 2 games. Bengals have no defense. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I like Ravens pretty comfortably. They would almost be my survivor pick, but a survivor pick where you're picking against Joe Burrow is not the smartest thing in the world. So I wouldn't say to do it, but I like Ravens pretty confident in that.
This is like another one where it's tough to see Bengals 1-4, but they have not presented much.
Yeah, I'm going against the law of averages. I'm going against it.
I'm tempted to say Bengals in this one, But Joe Burrow, I think Lamar's also very good against the Bengals in his career.
Mhm.
I'm gonna say Ravens. I don't think it's as much like it's a division game, so I don't think it's gonna be. I think Ravens will win by 6-7 points, but I don't see a blowout happening because it's a division rival. It's in Cincinnati. I'll take Ravens though in this one, and
Mhm.
I could definitely see Bengals just kind of everybody's down on them, and then they somehow just win
Yeah.
this game. But I'll
So
take the
we've
Ravens.
agreed. What we need to do is keep track of which ones where we agree on spread and money line and see the
Well, I
record
think we agree
there.
on all of them so far.
Yeah, but I'm saying in general, like we got to look back at some point and do the math skis.
Dolphins at Patriots. The Patriots are favored by 1. It was Patriots +1 before the
I
Monday
knew
night
that.
game.
I knew. That's when I literally looked at them like they're plus odds. I like Patriots. I liked them before this week when I saw those odds. Like that's good. I should bet them. But and I'm like them now. Miami. I did not watch the Miami game. Which guess
I unfortunately had to watch that game because I was in a close fantasy matchup, which I did win. Uh, but I sadly had to watch that game because I had to worry about Tyreek Hill. So I was
yeah.
flipping on between both games. But it
I
was
did
a
not
terrible
watch
game.
it. I went to go see Joker 2. Good, not great. But yeah, I didn't want to watch this game. But yeah, that look at stats look bad. I'm taking Patriots. I like Jacoby Brissett more, and yeah, that's about it.
I almost bet on Patriots before the Monday night game at
No,
plus
yeah,
odds. I'll take Patriots this one. I'm really good defense. Christian Gonzalez has been really good.
that's
I think the
5 in a
offense will do
row.
enough. And Miami, I think Miami's one of the worst teams in the league right now.
I think this could be a Drake May game.
Why?
Miami's pass rush isn't much. This would be a good Drake.
And I'm pretty sure Miami also lost Jalen Phillips. He
Oh,
got
they
hurt in the
did.
game.
I saw
He hurt his knee. Like he was just the ball was snapped and he just tried to push
yeah.
and his
I
leg just
say
gave out.
obviously injuries play a big part of it, but Miami is a team I was wrong about this year. I also saw J.C. Latham was like they say J.C. Latham. Once he figures out some other stuff, he's gonna be really good for Tennessee. But he was Chop Robinson, who the Dolphins have their rookie.
Yeah,
He was
I talked about
destroying
Dolphins'
him.
offensive line this year being a major
No, yeah,
problem, and
I mean,
defense I
I
said was
didn't.
top heavy. That's
Tua getting hurt. I think what we have to at least. I know it's been bad quarterbacks replacing him, but like Tua's still pretty good. I mean, like
yeah. Here's the thing about Tua.
look at the Dolphins now.
Look how bad Jacksonville is, and they probably should have lost
no,
to
yeah,
Jacksonville.
he did not play great. But I understand
And he
that,
wasn't
but
good against Buffalo.
I know, but I still think look at it now. I think there's still complete difference. Like they had
Okay, I
Waddle
was
and
thinking about this
Bell.
yesterday. This is the same, and I'm not. I think Tua is a way better quarterback than this quarterback, like way better. So I'm not even like saying that they're the same.
Okay, just say it.
But we heard the same type of crap about Jimmy Garoppolo. Oh, when he's not playing, they're terrible. Yeah, but the context is C.J. Beathard, Nick Mullins.
Okay,
When you compare to other quarterbacks, that's like, of course he's going to look better than those guys. So yeah, of course he's going to look better than your guy, Skylar Thompson, and Tim Boyle.
don't disrespect Skylar Thompson.
Well,
He's
I'm
a
going
very
to
cool
because
dude.
these conversations really
He's one of
irk
my
me.
favorite players to interview when I was reporting
He's a
at
good
K-State.
interviewee, but football
He's a good
player,
dude.
not too
No, he's a
much.
great. Skylar Thompson's a great dude. There will
There's
be
a lot of
no
great guys.
Skylar Thompson disrespect on this
I'm going. Well, you know
podcast.
what? I've been
Skylar
disrespected the
Thompson's
last
his phone
hour
number is in my
13.
phone.
So
If he still has the same phone number, so Logan, don't disrespect.
him and Tim Boyle look better than him in the Seattle game. So let's just.
Don't disrespect Skylar Thompson. I won't stand for it. I'm 20 feet away from you. Don't make me get in there.
Yeah, my door doesn't lock. That's unfortunate. But I'm not really scared. Next game, another quarterback or another like team I'm not scared of. The Browns and Commanders, opposite records. Which I mean, I remember. You know what? Luke's been boasting all episode. I said before the year Browns would win like 6 games.
Yeah, I was wrong about Browns and Miami.
Luke called me dumb on that. He said, "Yeah." I said the same thing about Cowboys. Not 6 wins, but that they wouldn't be a playoff team. I was also called dumb. Browns at
I picked
Commanders.
them to finish last in division once we made
After
our pick.
I had talked you into the whole offseason.
No, you didn't talk me into anything. But then I didn't know that Dak and CD were going to sign. So
Browns at Commanders. Commanders minus 3.5.
This is my law of averages pick, where if you don't agree with me, I can't blame you in the slightest. I can't. It's just
Luke's back in the shop.
I picked Browns to lose last week, so I did good there. And I picked the
Yeah,
Giants
I
to
did
cover
too.
against and I picked the Giants to cover against the Browns a couple weeks ago. Not many people
Okay,
did.
can you make
I did.
so?
I am picking the Browns. I think Watson did look a little better last week. I
You
think
don't even
that
sound confident at all.
I know I'm not confident in this. This is like my Denver, even though I was really confident Denver's gonna beat Tampa. That was like I was really confident. But you know, Amari Cooper sucked. I have him on my fantasy team. Like, as much as we want to hate on Deshaun Watson, and trust me, it's warranted. Amari Cooper sucked. He has been a terrible receiver. And, I think they'll win. I have no more analysis. What's his name? I saw Dan Orlovsky said Deshaun looked like one of his better games with the Browns last week,
I
just in
don't
terms
care.
of stuff. And
I don't
yeah, I
care.
know, I know. I
I
don't. I
don't
can't
care.
blame you. I'm picking the Browns. Trust me, I can barely look
The
at you.
guy is a king of throwing crow routes, and that's about it.
I can barely look at you. I know, Logan. I know. Still picking
It's
them.
tempting. Like God, I'm gonna take Washington, but I'm gonna take Browns to cover. This will be the first one I have to cover.
close cover.
Yeah, I'll take Commanders win by like a field goal or something. To be honest, I can see Commanders blowing them out, but like at the same time, that defense is so bad. I'll take
Yeah.
Commanders. This is like a hesitant. Like I'm not too
If
confident
Nick
in this.
Chubb plays this week, I may start him. I may start him. I
I
don't
know he's
know.
practicing this week, but I don't think he's gonna play.
Well, like I know Jonathan Brooks isn't going to play, but I think
They're
Nick
not
Chubb's
gonna
been.
rush Chubb out.
I think he's been ready. I think that's a thing. He's been ready for a week or two.
Oh,
I don't know. He may
I just
play.
saw this line for the first time, and I actually love this value.
What?
Colts at Jags.
Oh,
Jags are -3.
gosh,
I
I'm
don't.
picking the
I don't think
Browns
there is
and
any
the
law.
Jags.
There's no law of averages with these last two teams we talked
I'm
about.
gonna pick the Jags, but I truly believe, like, if I just have to make a prediction, obviously, these back to back ones, not great feelings. I think Colts cover the +3, so I think they win by. I think
Can
Jags
you
win
trust
by
the
one
Jags
or
in a close
two.
game? I don't.
Logan, I don't feel good about this one either. I get it, but are they going to be 0-5? It's just like I think they'll win close. I think
We
they'll win
said when I
close.
said the must win week 2. That's why I said it.
I said they were again.
Did
They
you
weren't.
say that? Did you think they were gonna be 0-4?
Yeah, but I didn't know that how much Trevor Lawrence sucked. Completely different. I said the Jags was the closest to a must win. I did say that. I said it's the closest to a must win. They did just almost beat the Texans. I'll take Jags to win, but Colts to cover +3. So I may do a 2-leg parlay with that. I'm gonna check that right now. The odds would be on that, but make your pick.
If Flacco plays, I'm picking the Colts. If he doesn't play and it's Richardson, I'll take the Jags. But I think Flacco plays this week, so I'll take the Colts. I think Colts. Jaguars secondary is terrible. I know Colts don't have a really good run defense, but I do. I think the Jaguars offense is broken. I think the locker room is. That's another thing. Like the vibes and with the Colts, they were 0-2. Now they're 2-2. You have Joe Flacco in there, who last year you thought could beat the Texans and beat the Chiefs eventually in the playoffs. I'm gonna take the Colts in this one.
Say
If
he
Joe Flacco's
would.
if Joe Flacco's playing, I'll take Colts. But I do want to say my pick will be Jaguars if Richardson is playing. So it kind of depends on who's playing, who's not. Next game, this one, I think this could be game of the week. Bills at Texans. The Bills are favored by 1, and I really wish I bet on this too because Bills are plus odds before Monday night.
I actually skipped writing this game down. I think I said I think you go first because
I'm going to take Bills. I think they were embarrassed on Sunday night, and the Texans' offense
I'm gonna take Bills.
Has not been what we thought. And it just may be them working out, getting on the same page and all that. They didn't have Tank Dell last week. Didn't have Joe Mixon. So if those two are back, it could change things. But I think the fact that the Bills lost by 25 points, got embarrassed, I think that they're going to come back more focused this week and more prepared. So I'll take the Bills in this one.
I agree. I agree with everything you said, oddly enough. I like Bills, but I wouldn't bet it.
Raiders at Broncos. This is discussing over-under as well.
I skipped
Broncos
writing this one down too. What the heck happened?
Broncos -3. You're too busy probably boasting in your head about your picks. And you just
Okay, well, I know where I'm picking this one, and it is Broncos easily. As I said, I think they're a playoff contender. I like them. My computer's running a little low on battery, so maybe do picks a little quicker, which is wild.
is it not charging?
No, it's not charging. I charged
Why
it
do you
before
not?
because,
I know you
but
probably charged it. Oh, well,
Broncos -3.
just grab
I
your
like
charger real quick and
Broncos.
charge it.
No, it can be a weird angle. We're okay.
Okay. Next game, Cardinals at the
Who'd
49ers.
you even pick?
Oh, sorry, such a useless game. I'll take Broncos. There may be no Davante, no Max Crosby. I mean, yeah, and Raiders, I think, got lucky to win last week. I don't think that was a holding call on a Marty touchdown. I think they were pretty fortunate. So
Yeah, that
I'll
did
take the
hurt my
Broncos.
fantasy.
Yeah, I'll take the Broncos. Cardinals at 49ers. 49ers -7.5.
I think everyone's taking Cardinals to cover in this I'm like, nah, give me Niners. Give me Niners. You're getting I think the full sleuth of weapons are fully back, even for Shaw. Give
You
me
can say
Niners. I feel
full.
pretty
They
good.
don't have McCaffrey, but
But
yeah.
like Kittle and everyone's gonna be I think Kittle's fine and Debo's gonna be healthy and yeah, I like Niners. I can see a blowout here, then we have big Cardinals questions.
Yeah, I'll take 49ers as well. The spread, I think. I mean, there's not a lot of like large spreads this week. Like there's not, and I don't think every game's gonna be a blowout. Kyler's been actually pretty good against the 49ers in his career. He's kind of giving them issues. He's not playing well right now. I'll take the Cardinals to cover. I'm not too confident in that, but I will take them to cover this one. But I think 49ers win pretty easily. I could see
A
like
lot of people are taking Cardinals.
I could see it be like a 14-point game and a backdoor cover. Like I don't think because like last week the 49ers kind of took a while to get going against the Patriots. So and Patriots are much better defensively, but I'll take the Cardinals to cover. I think division game. I like 49ers no doubt win this game, but yeah, I'll take the Cardinals to keep it within that spread. Next game, Packers at Rams, and I'm not seeing a line on this one. They're
3.5.
3.5. It was not popping up on my screen. Packers -3.5.
I like Packers. LaFleur's 4-0 against McVay. Didn't know that until yesterday. That's kind of wild. And I think Jordan Love is due for a bounce back. Rams still don't have Cup they already said Cup's out, no Puka. I think I like Packers in a bounce back to cover and win well.
I'll take Packers as well. I'll take them to cover as well. I think Rams are too beat up, and it's kind of unfortunate. They're going to be 1-4, and it seems like they never really had a chance this season just because of injuries. But I'll take Packers to cover. Rough week last week for them. I think they bounce back. Giants at the Seahawks, and the Seahawks are favored by 6.
I'll take Seahawks, but I'm taking Giants to cover. I think I saw last week with the Giants that offense is not terrible. They just couldn't seal the deal on any drive, and I think Dable wasn't too aggressive, which I think also hurt them. I think this will be a close one. I will take Seattle. They're a better team, better weapons, better quarterback. But I think it's kind of like the Cowboys game. So give me Giants cover, but I'll take Seahawks. Their offense. Kenneth Walker's looking good.
We saw Seattle last year play the Giants on Monday night, and they absolutely
But yeah, but by that logic, the Cowboys
I know.
played them on Sunday night and beat them. I think the Giants' offense it's finding a solid rhythm. They haven't looked bad
the
since
thing
week one.
The thing with the Giants, though, I don't know if the secondary is going to be able to like Seattle's receivers.
Secondary
is very solid. And if Kenneth Walker's running, like I'm going to take Seattle and the points. And I'm not necessarily saying a blowout, but I think they covered the spread. I think I can see them win by it's in Seattle. I like Seattle in this spot. Next game Sunday night, the first of our primetime games. Cowboys at Steelers. And Steelers are -2.5. Probably no Micah Parsons, no DeMarcus Lawrence in this one.
They're just too hurt, and Justin Fields is looking all right. And I gotta take Steelers. I just have to.
Yeah, I'll take Steelers as well. Take Steelers as well. And I mean, Tyler Guyton looked pretty bad against the Giants, and he's probably gonna be lined up against TJ Watt. I think this could be a blowout spot. I don't think it'll be a blowout, but this could definitely be a blowout spot where people start realizing the Cowboys are not good. Like they're not a good football team. So I'll take Steelers -2.5. I think that's one of the easiest bets of the week, actually. And they're coming off a loss. I'll take Steelers. Monday night, Saints at Chiefs. Chiefs -5. But I'm very surprised that the line's actually this without with the question marks that we see with the Chiefs.
I have Chiefs winning, but Saints covering. I think it'll just be a classic, same game as usual.
Yeah, I'll have Chiefs winning and Saints covering as well.
It's weird. Kareem Hunt should have a good game.
Yeah, I actually this is one of my if I was doing a bet of just money line and the losing team just cover, this would be one of my favorites to do this week. But yeah, I think Chiefs win at home. I think they have a bye week next week, so a good time to have a bye week before they face San Francisco in week 7, I believe. So yeah, I'll take Chiefs and the Saints covering.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, that's an interesting one, indeed.
Anything else before we depart?
I don't like how much I agree with you on picks this week because I've looked really good. And you have
Okay, so maybe we both look very good this week.
12-4 last week on money lines.
Yeah, 10-6. That's not too far off.
Yeah, but you missed 2 that I got right, so.
Well, duh, that's a math there.
And I knew I should have picked the Ravens. I should have love averaged that one. That was dumb of me. That's a regretful one.
Well, that will do it for our episode this week. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube video, like the YouTube channel, like the video, and we also post episodes on Spotify. But we'll see you guys next week with another episode, and we'll think of another segment to do in between our reaction and picks.
Maybe a trade happens.
That too. I think there will be.
Mm-hmm.
Until then, we'll see you guys.
Peace.